How are your judgments shaping your life? Because they are. So anytime you judge something, you are limiting that thing in your life. You're subtracting your perspective. And because of social media technology, we're bombarded with information. So we have to sort through that information, right? Or you can just ignore it altogether. But we have to sort through and decide what we like and what we don't like. So if you decide you like something, you move towards it. You include that perspective in your perspective and in your life. Now, if you decide to judge something, you tend to move away from that thing. You're subtracting. Someone you judge, you're not going to hear their perspective. You're not going to go in their direction. So there might be all this opportunity or potential, or they might have a really great perspective for you, but as long as you judge it or judge them, you're not including it. Instead, you're excluding it so that you can move towards what you do want, which is great. But just know those judgments are giving you that direction. Person, let's say you judge a person, you are excluding from your reality anything positive in that person because you're focusing on the thing you don't like. You're missing out on all the other positive things that you could like. Okay, your brain is doing that for you, and it's through your judgment. It's shaping your life. Right? Isn't that pretty cool? You're sorting out your perspectives, your preferences through your judgments. It's helping you create your life by knowing what you don't like about people. You're knowing what you do like. Why you chose your spouse. Imagine back to when you first met your spouse. You see, in that time when you first met them, there was a lot of enthusiasm and ambition and positive emotion about that person. And what was happening is you were looking for positive qualities in your spouse. So you were looking at that person and you were thinking about all the great things. Oh, look at how good looking they are. Look at how kind they are. Oh, look at how generous they are. And so because of all of that, you chose your spouse. You chose them for two reasons. Same reasons you choose anything. It's because they make you feel good and because you see yourself moving forward with them. You see potential and expansion in the future. You see, you're going to build a house, you're going to have children. You see being with them as an expansive, positive, moving forward experience. But in order to see that, you had to list for yourself positive aspects about that person. So if you can imagine back, for some of you it might be a while, but imagine when you first met your spouse, you probably daydreamed about that person. Now, some of that daydream was true, and some of it you just made up, right? Either way, it made you feel good because you were thinking about all the positive things about that person. That is why you're with them now. Now, what if you're not so enamored by your spouse? What if you don't really feel charmed by them anymore? What happened is your judgments have taken over and you started listing the negative qualities in that person. You started noticing their bad breath, or you started noticing things that they do that you don't like. They're cheap and they don't pay attention to you. And so as long as you go down that path, that judgment, let's assume none of this is right or wrong. Okay, but as long as you go down that path and you keep thinking about those negative qualities, those qualities that made you choose your spouse in the first place are no longer part of your perspective. You see, you're focusing on what you don't like about them and you're sorting out your preferences. So you are moving away from your spouse. You're going to find yourself, you live with them, you sleep with them, you sleep further away from them. Maybe you even sleep on the couch or make them do that. But you will want to spend less time with them. You will find them more difficult to be around. And all this is your brain. Your brain is so powerful. Your brain is waiting for direction from you. And the most powerful way, I mean, if we could just always think about what we want in life, our lives would just be amazing. We'd always just zoom towards it. We'd always just love the people we're with, right? But instead, our judgments tend to be stronger. So our judgments lead us in a different direction. I think, well, I'll just leave this relationship. It's a lot easier. But you also then carry with you yourself. And in you is still the patterns that you had from before. You see that pattern of judging is still there. So, but it is giving you direction. It's making you leave or stay. They are giving you direction. They are limiting certain perspectives and engaging other ones, right? Like we always think it's greener on the grass is greener on the other side. Well, that's because you keep looking at it as greener on the other side. I mean, truth is, if you wanted to find love, you've got to focus on love. And not in that some other person has to morph themselves to look like love for you, but that love is a feeling inside you. And if you can focus on that feeling and what you want, the love you want, then that love is going to be there because it's expansive. So I always love reminding people, positive feelings and thoughts are expansive. They move forward. Love, hope, optimism, look at direction. If you see someone as beautiful, helpful, kind, compassionate, prosperity, success, appreciation, this is all moving you forward. Like it just keeps expanding. As long as you are appreciating someone, you are expanding towards anything they have to offer. You're letting it in, you're allowing it, it's really beautiful. There's no resistance in that. But what if you were in the perfect life? Like everything was literally perfect, but you didn't even know it. Because your brain is waiting for direction, and the direction you're giving it is to subtract all of the great stuff so that you could focus on the stuff you don't like. So I would watch the media if I were you, because they tend to want to give you a lot of negative stuff. Like they will spoon feed people. We love it. I don't know why we like conflict so much, but it's going to drain you. So always think about what you want. Go in the direction of what you want. Don't struggle with what you don't want. So what a lot of people think when they hear something like this is they think, well, I should analyze all those critical negative thoughts. I'm going to write them down on the paper. I'm going to try to figure out why I'm so critical and why I do not like my spouse as much anymore and why my job is so depleting and whose fault it is and all of this. Again, there's one thing about all of that is that you're focusing on the problem. You're never going to move forward. You're subtracting from the perspective. You can't see all of this as long as you're looking at this. Your brain only focuses on one thing at a time. I know computers come with dual processors, but our brains don't. So, just try this. Add 2 math equations at the very same time in your brain. Add 5 and 7, 11 and 2. So for you to do that, I don't care how smart you are, you had to do one equation and then the next. So our brain doesn't multitask. We can't focus on more than one thing at a time. And the most important asset you have ever is what you focus on. That's it. More than your confidence, more than your skill, your ability, your IQ is what you focus on. Have a messy mind. It's like, and here's what's happening, is you're letting the world tell you what to focus on. And those people have messy minds too. Studies show 70% of our thoughts are negative, 98% of our thoughts are the same thoughts we had the day before. It's messy. We're just not focusing on what we really care about, what we want. It would be so simple and so satisfying for you if all you did is just thought about the stuff that you like. Look at the positive qualities in everyone and everything. Think positively about the life that you have right now. Like, guess what? Maybe it's actually perfect, but you have to look at those perfect qualities. Nothing is perfect, but it's great. It's beautiful. It's amazing. Like, look around. You have stuff right in front of you. People, experiences. Like, a beautiful flower growing outside in your garden is beautiful. If you just sat there and focused on that for a while, you could start to build positive momentum, and that would help you move forward. Just focus on the direction you're headed. Focus on what you want. And remember that your judgments are giving you direction. They're sorting out preferences. Just know you're the one who's doing the sorting. Your brain wants direction. Why don't you just give it to it?